So today I'm going to present this project. I have this for the whole team, and this is all about that what I'm trying to do with the reading unit and the social studies unit, and what is my plan, what the implications are, implementations, and the results are. So, so who are we? That's the topic, and this is for grade 2. So my main focus is the grade 2 reading unit and the social studies unit.
Okay.
And then
And the units are?
the units are like your fables and folk tales, and same but different. And for the methodology, first I want to show you like what the standards I'm going to focus on.
Okay.
So for the reading and the reading standards are, we are focusing on RL21, which is ask and answer the questions like who, what, where, when, and this is the way to understand and demonstrate the key details of the text by asking these questions.
Right.
And the other main reading standards, we are going to focus on recounting the stories, including these fables and folk tales from different cultures,
Recounting, yes.
to understand or get the central message. Sometimes it's a lesson or a moral. The social studies standards, which I'm going to focus on, PPEC, which shows the beginning of understanding of how people are different in different cultures and how their physical environment is also different. And this one, which is identify similarities and differences in people's characteristics, habits, and daily routines. So these are the 4 standards, which is the main focus of this topic.
Okay.
And the purpose of the project is making an interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary unit by merging the reading and the social studies and collaborating with art.
Okay.
So the next question is why? Why I want to do that. So I think that the students learn the concept and the skills of each discipline, but in a reference to a common theme, which is a new way of learning, which is thinking out of the box. And also student apply skill and knowledge of 2 different disciplines and apply to a project to shape a learning experience. So here our theme is to look at the character traits. So that is why I chose like this project. So the objective is, so how like first learning new ideas, and then some are problem oriented. Then they will look at how I'm different from my character, and then why I am different from my character. So they are going to look at this few problems, and they will think about them.
So these were your main questions you repeated frequently to the kids.
Right.
How am I different from, and why am I different from?
So next is the project description, so that like how we are going to do this. So there are 4 main like topics. That is, the first is the fable and the folk tales. Then we are going to compare the characters and then find the central message and idea. So here like teachers can definitely go to more details, but these 4 are the main things which we are focusing. We are not looking at different genres, but only fable and folk tales.
Right.
And then comparing and contrasting, taking the characters from there, and at the end finding a central message. So for the fables and folk tales, large section of them will be available for the students. They can read in partnership or individually. It depends on the teacher how they would like to do that. And then they will discuss, the students, what they notice about the folk tale. Always have a central message, and then they will find the character from those books and brainstorm the ideas.
Brainstorm ideas for
the like the character the fables of the folk tales, like what type of, what they see, who, what, that type of question to discuss with their, and it totally depends on the teachers how they want to have this lesson. From the social studies, so how the environment affects people's life and the similarities and differences in people's characteristics. These two questions are very important. So next is the compare and contrast. The students will compare themselves with a character in the folktales book, because once they study about the like same and different, like how two pen pals are different from each other, they will compare themselves with the character in the folktale books, because they are going to do the pen pals different from each other simultaneously. And then they will try to find out what their hobbies and activities are, and then how different is family, environment, their routines, and their interests. Next is it's an example of the how we see the character traits, like how different Kailash and Iliad is from each other, and then we can use any graphic organizer. So I recommend that using the Venn diagram is one of the nice good graphic organizer to compare and contrast, because we are focusing on comparing and contrasting. And then think about what people can do who live in this location that might be different from people living in the city, because in the book which I'm reading to them, I will read to them, that will be one lives in the city, one lives in downtown New York, one lives in the traditional village. So how people are different, but they go to the same school, they have same activities, but then their transportations are different, their environments are different, how they're different from each other. So these they can get the character traits from here. So central message and idea is, what is the idea, what the message teaches us, or does it explain something related to the nature? Anything can be a central message or idea. It depends on what book the kids are.
Correct.
Okay. So the implementation and the timeline, this is I think the reading unit and the social studies is planned the same way as we have in the pathway. So teachers can start anytime, and it should be we shouldn't be more than 3 weeks in the month of May. And at the end, how they're going to present their work. So we don't have any summative assessments for this, but students independently will prepare posters at the end, just kind of a formative assessments to see how they achieved their work. If possible, we collaborate with art. It's optional, but in my class we'll do that.
Yep.
And the example is the picture I can show. The picture I couldn't do it properly. So this is how I will model. So this is I did it before. So this is an example of how a poster can look like.
Okay.
But it's your choice, whatever you would like.
Sure.
And tools for measuring the success, whether they understood the project or not, the right level books to them. Posters for the project. Comprehensive input is there are times when the students we give something to them to record in the graphic organizers, or whatever they're reading, they are writing it down so that they can remember. Then the intake.
Okay.
And then
so it's ongoing.
Right.
Ongoing.
And we can check.
Reading checks.
Right. And we can check whether they understands or not. And so leading the project is how to start. So our class will start the project in the first week of May. All the files will be in Google Drive, and I will share that bi-weekly or at the end of the day with the teachers. And I will set a meeting with the art teacher. If anybody is interested, I can also talk to her about that. And then if I think everything is available in the classroom, but the big construction papers are not in the classroom, so you can get it from the kiosk. So I try to put all the informations here. And how the community is involved, I will meet the library staff to discuss about the books on folktales, and also the books from another librarian called Tammy Betts. And students can also interview their parents and get to know about different cultures, about how their culture is different from the culture here. And then kids will do environment comparison with the art Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
So we are done.
Well,
I
it's a
think like this
beautiful
is.
presentation. Yep, very nice. Yep.
I think so. Yeah, we're done.
And I wanted to ask you about the like the final product. You know, the making the big poster. So it's a bit of an assessment, and you look at that to see if
Whether
they've met the standards.
they made the standards. Like there are different ways to see like they met the standards or not throughout the process, but at least like the last like the project shows that whether they understood it or not, because before doing the poster there are many steps they have to finish, like compare characteristics and all these things before.
Right. The question asking is going ongoing, recounting the fables and folktales. That's good.
Do you have any suggestions like how I can improve like for future this project or add something?
Maybe there's a way to. One of the social studies standards is about the environment, and it's not just like looking at a picture and having it be a picture of this and a picture of that, and they can say it's different. But how does that difference affect their lives? Right. So if I do live in a city and you live in a rural area, what is different? Not just that that's different, but how does that impact those children? So you know, maybe one has to walk a long way to school, or one has to walk and collect water every day, and the other one has water coming out of taps at home. Or, you know, different ways that they play, you know, bringing it to something that they can relate in their everyday life, or something that they can relate to their play, would be kind of a good way for them to not just identify it's different, but to understand how that impacts their lives, right? That's just bumping it up a level, and that's my only kind of thought about how to improve it. If you want to take it up that one extra level to really say, yes, the kids know this standard. Now they know that there are different environments, but people have different lives because they live in different environments, right? Yeah.
But is it possible then, like, to do that like with the folktale books, like to show like?
But you could also say, is it possible to show different character traits, because one is fiction, and one is themselves, right? So I mean, I think it is, if you really look at that book and say, now where is it? What does that mean? Let's visualize what this person's life is like. Let's imagine what it's like at nighttime there, or what's it like when the sun goes down, or you know, just to bring that, to really think about it, not just look at it. And it is fiction, right? But you could have a character who's magical, right? And then of course they're comparing themselves to something that's magical. So character traits, it's a really good thing to do, and they also know, hey, this is fiction, but in the story this boy or this girl acted this way, and this is the way I act. We're the same here, we're different here. But you could also say that about their environment. It's
So that means like one day I can have this another topic, like just step up to a like a more research level, that look at the environment, and can I give them like photos from different environments, like how the kids go to school and all, and then they will think about it.
You could do a little research, like there's that website that we do to study kids in Japan.